just, actually, if you're looking, let me get this sorted. Hold on. There we go. So, if you're not familiar with intervals already, although if you're in the live stream, stick around and I'll do my best to kind of catch you up. But I have a lesson that I highly suggest you check out before you check out this lesson or learn from this lesson, and it's called How to Read Music Faster Using Intervals. It is on the YouTube channel, but I think, let's look it up together because I always like to give you an idea on what we are looking for. So let me open up one of these bad boys and then let me show you. Okay, so if you type in how to read music faster, and it's actually the first real video. Hey, I did a good job with my SEO here. So how to read music faster, my video is #1 here, Lessons on the Web. And this lesson is all about how to identify intervals and then also use them so you can read music faster. But like I said, if you're in the live stream right now, I'll do my best to kind of catch you up, do a little sample lesson here. So does anybody know what an interval is? Well, it's on a delay. So an interval, think it out to yourself. So an interval is the distance between two different notes. So say you have a note here, say you have a note up here. That is an interval. What about this? Actually, let me make them a little bit larger for us to see. What about something like that? Is that an interval? Well, yeah, sure, it's two different notes. What about that? Is that an interval? Yes. What about that? Is that an interval? Well, not really, because it's the same note. Now, you can have what's called a unison, where you and your friend play the exact same note at the same time, although it doesn't look like it wants me to even write out a unison. Yeah, how far two notes are. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Alexander's here again. Yeah, that lesson helped me out a lot. I need to rewatch your video about identifying reading chord inversions. Yes, that one is a good one as well. Hey, Rich, how's it going? I was afraid you weren't going to make it tonight. So how far two notes are. Yeah, exactly. So anytime you have two notes or more notes, actually. So if you have three notes even, I don't know why it started to write all like strangely all of a sudden. But so you see you have three notes there now. You have a bottom note, you have a middle note, and then you have a top note. There's three intervals going on here. Let's see if we can pick them out. So if you take a look at the bottom note F here, right there, F, and now it's not doing it at all. That's not good. Oh, there you go. So there's your F there, there's a B there, and there's a D. So there's three different intervals going on. There's one between here and here. And then there's also an interval going between here and here. There's two. And then there's also an interval between the top two. So between every set of notes, there is an interval, the top two, the bottom two, and then the outer two as well. So just keep in mind that intervals can appear in all sorts of ways. It's not always just one note versus another, but generally you are looking at that. Even if you have a chord here and you're looking at the intervals in between, you're really picking one note, this note and then this note. So you're looking at just those two. So it's really has to do with groups of two. So here we go. I'm going to go over the intervals really quick. So if you have a note and then the same note like that, it is what we call a second, or not a second, that's a unison. If you have a note and then the very next note, that's called a second because they are two away. 1, 2. Now, if you move it up one more, that's 3. 1, 2, 3. And you know a third when you see one because it looks like the beginning of a snowman, kind of. You have 4 away. And then 5. 5, you see it because it looks like, a gap in a teeth, some teeth or something like that, where, you have space, you have not a space, and then you have a space. Same thing if the first one starts on a line. So if you have the bottom one start on a line, the top one will also be on a line, just like that. So Here we go, a sixth. The sixth is just one more. And then you have a seventh, and then you have octave. Remember that an octave has to begin and end on the same note. So from like G to G, that's an octave. D to D, that's an octave. And, you know, I think you get it. So, and if it's like a sharp note, F sharp to F sharp, hey, that's another octave. Even number intervals don't match. And here's what I mean by that. So you can spot an even number interval like a second, a fourth, you know, a sixth or something like that. You can spot it right away based on this one thing. If the bottom note is a line, the top note has to be a space. There we go. But if the bottom note is a space, the top note has to be a line. So they, like I said, are flipped. So in seconds, fourths, sixths, and octaves, they don't match. So whatever the beginning one, if it's a line, the other one's going to be a space. And if the first one's a space, the second one's going to be a line. So here's the second, fourth. You know, I just moved that one up 2. That makes 4. And you can see that they don't match. You have a space and then a line. And then you go 6, same thing. It's just moved up even a little bit further. So there's a 6th. And then strangely, an octave, right? Wait a second. So that's from A to A. Yeah. So an octave, you would almost expect them to match, but they don't because it's an even number interval. So remember that the evens are a little bit odd. Somebody said that in the comments today. Are a little bit odd in that they don't match. The odd number intervals, 3, 6, 9, 11, match. So if the bottom one's a space, top one's a space. Let me move this third down to a line. If the bottom one's a line, the top one's a line. So they both match. So that's how you can identify easily whether it's an even number interval or an odd interval. And you can just use that to kind of double check, see if you are getting the right answer. And by being able to identify intervals by sight, you can much better read sheet music, because instead of reading these two notes E and G, I only really need to read one of them, and then my brain fills in, oh, well, the next one is a third away. So it just helps fill in the notes a lot faster. What we're going to do in this lesson, kind of building on that, is we're going to work on identifying intervals. I'm going to give you a bunch, and we're just going to kind of figure out what they are. So this first one is a third. What about, I'm going to draw it in the bass clef. Now, how far apart is this one? You know, feel free to leave it in the comments or the chat. Now, let's think about this real quick. So the first thing I would do is, I guess, figure out whether it's an even number interval or an odd number interval, since we just talked about that. Well, remember, if they don't match, because we have a line, and then we have, here's our one on a line, and then we have one on a space, remember that if they don't match, that has to be an even number interval. So we're probably looking at a 2, 4, 6, or 8. Next, what you want to do is you want to determine how far apart these notes really are. Are they really close together, or are they really far apart, or are they in between? Well, if they're really close together, like down here, then it's got to be a second, right? Because that's the lowest number or even interval that you have. So let's go on to another one. How about this one? So you have the bottom one on a line and the top one on a space. Now, what interval do you think this is? Leave it in the chat or the comments. Now, think about it this way. Do they match? Well, and obviously what I mean by that, is it line in line or is it line in space? Well, they mismatch, right? Since this one's on a line, this one's on a space. So therefore, it must be an even number interval. This interval isn't as close as it was before, because remember with the second, it was here. So it's just a little bit further away than that. The next one up in the even number intervals, of course, is 4. Okay, so down here in the bass clef, what are we looking at? What do you think? Well, if you take a look at the bottom and then the top, they don't match. So it has to be what kind of interval? An odd interval? No, it can't be, right? Because remember, odds, they'll match. So it would be line, line. But this is line space, so it's an even number interval. I would say that those are pretty far apart. They're not, obviously they could be further apart, but generally within the limits of what we're talking about, seconds, fourths, sixths, and octaves, generally that's at the outside of the limit. So I basically gave you the answer in that the highest one we talked about so far was an octave. And we can test that because the bottom note's D, top note's D. So that one is an octave. Okay, so tricky one. What is this interval? So think about it. Now I'm trying to trick you here. And just think about it for a minute and leave in the comments what you think this is. So the bottom note's C, the top note is something else. I'll let you figure that out. Now, right away, even though it's on the bass clef and then the treble clef, we can still figure out whether it's an odd number interval or an even number. So if they both match, it's a line here and a line up here, they both match, then we're talking about an odd interval, odd number. So how far, these look pretty far apart, right? I mean, look at this distance here. I mean, it goes from down here all the way up to here. I mean, that's an even bigger gap than the entirety of the staff itself. So they must be really far apart, right? Well, think again. And I mean, you may already, if you're familiar with the layout of the piano and all these keys, you probably know right away that I'm just fooling with you. They're not very far apart. I mean, space-wise on the paper they are, but you have to consider that this C right here, oops, let me turn this back to the other pen. This C right here is this C right here. So remember that the treble clef and bass clef meet together at this middle C. But keep in mind that they keep the C's separated apart, mainly because they don't want all the notes running into one another. It makes it a lot neater to have them apart like this. So keep in mind, even though there's a gap here, it's only a visual representation. In reality, these two clefs are joined together by that middle C. If I move a note up here to D, it moves one up there. So these notes are actually really close together because I have a C here, and then the next D is just right there. Okay, so we have a, what do you think? Leave it in the comments. It's going to be a third apart. 1, 2, 3. So you can obviously observe intervals between the staffs, but you have to be pretty good at reading the music between them to begin with to be able to determine, really how far apart they are. Because like I said, visually, it looks like they're really far apart, but in reality, they're really not. Hello, got lots of great people in here. Jonathan's here. Atatha's, if I'm pronouncing your name correct, thank you for answering. The Great Emperor, welcome back again. Oh, he's got a bad rainstorm, so hopefully your power holds on and you hang in there. Okay, let's continue. Now I've done it again. It's between two clefs. So if you take a look here at the bottom, and then you have the top, we have a space on the bottom and a line on the top. So therefore, they must be even number intervals. So how far apart are these really? Well, if you read the notes real quick, leave in the comments what you think this one is. But they're both G's, right? So even though they look really far apart, they're an octave apart, which I guess is kind of far. But, that's how you do it. So if you see if there's a G here, and there's no G's in between, then you got a straight up octave in this one. So it looks like Rich and Insisted Cubing have gotten that one correct. Jonathan also nailed it. A to the Z. Oh, it's called A to the Z. All right. When somebody tells me that, and I finally realize, I'm like, oh, like bodacious. I was calling him like Boda Sias or something, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, that's bodacious. Okay, let's take a look here. It's great to have everybody out, by the way. So whether it's your first time or you're a returning student, you're always welcome back at these live streams. The more, the merrier, I say. Okay, now we have one interval in one of the clefs back again, just for the treble clef. How far apart are these? Well, they match, right? So they must be an odd number interval. An odd number interval indeed. So remember that odd intervals will be the 3, 6, 9, that kind of thing. But, or 3, 5, not 3, 6, 9. 6 is even. What is wrong with me? 3, 5, 7, 9. I need to go back to elementary school. So if it was a third, remember it'd be stacked like that. But because there's an empty gap in there, then that will be an open fifth. A fifth there. Okay, and then there's just kind of get into this a little bit. I want to make a full lesson on this someday, but there's different types of these intervals. So there's 2 different types of seconds. There's 2 different types of thirds. There's only one type of fourth, really. Well, sort of. We'll talk about that in a second. Same thing with fifth, sixth. There's 2 different versions, seventh, and so forth. So there are major intervals, which would be like from C to D. And basically, major intervals kind of tell you the steps of the major scale. So if it's the second note of the major scale, that's a major second. That's a major third. We call this a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth as well. It has to do with Pythagoras' theorem. I forget exactly why they're called perfect. Well, they are perfect consonances. I know that. So they are very stable notes. And then you have a sixth, then a major sixth, that's called. You have a major seventh, and then you have a perfect octave. Remember that if it's perfect, they sound fairly stable. Like they don't really cringe at all. But like a seventh, very unstable indeed. So anyway, a major second, first we'll talk about, by definition, is a whole step apart. So if you have like from F sharp to G sharp, that's a major second. If you have from A to, or from, that's not even A. If you have from B to C sharp, that's a major second because they are a whole step away. A minor second is only a half step away. And that's like the theme to Jaws, where, a major third now, by definition, in terms of half steps or semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 semitones, or it can be the third note up in a major scale, which makes more sense. So if you know your major scales, it makes this a lot easier. Then you have a minor third, which is really, so if you ever want to turn a major interval into a minor one, generally you'll just flat the top note, and that will give you the minor version of it. That's only 3 semitones or 3 half steps away. A perfect fourth doesn't have a minor version because if I flat that, it gives me a major third again. You can sharp a fourth into what we call an augmented fourth, but they call that the tritone. That one is not very used very much in music, and you can probably guess why. It's a very tense sound. I mean, in modern music, it's used more and more contemporary music. The fifth, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 semitones away, I guess 3.5 whole tones. This is a perfect fifth. Now you can have a diminished fifth, which is really a tritone again. And so yeah, there's your fifth. You have a sixth, or the sixth note up in a major scale. And you also have the minor version. So basically just know that a lot of these have a minor version. Second has a minor version to it. You have a third, also has the minor version to it. Fourth does not have a minor version. There's not such thing as a minor fourth interval. because that's a third. And then you have a, from C to G, that's a fifth. And then you have, if you have a flat fifth, it's really a tritone. And then you have sixth, and then you have minor sixth, seventh, minor seventh, and then octave. No minor octave either, mainly because that's a major seventh. Yeah, sorry to confuse you. So I wanted to kind of hold this off for a lesson on its own, like I said. So if you don't get this part of the lesson, that's okay. The main thing I want you to get out of this right now isn't to memorize what all these minor intervals are yet, but really to know that there are minor intervals. Just know that, for a second, there's also a minor second. They still look the same on paper, though. So for instance, I have these two notes right here in the bass clef, E and F. Well, they're only a half step apart, so that must be a minor second. However, if I move it here, come on. There we go, finally. So if I move it here, you have F and G. But now, they're a whole step apart, so therefore, it must be a major second. But on paper, they look the same because you have two notes, real close together. So a second is a second, honestly. And like this, you can look at this right away, and you can know right away still that that's a third. Now, whether it's a major third or minor third, you kind of have to play it and check it out. It actually happens to be a minor third. But if you move it into different places, it changes it into a major third. And that really has to do with the spacing. There's not a black key in between every white key. So if you have here, C and E, that's a major third. But it's still a third nonetheless. So just be able to pick out these intervals by sight. How far away they are. Do the lines and spaces match? Is it even number interval, odd number interval? Know that much, and then also know, though, that there are minor versions to all these intervals, and that someday in a lesson I'll give to you in the future that I will explain it all more in detail on how to determine and how to memorize these different intervals. It does get easier. That is true. Rich is correct, even with the minor intervals and things like that. Let me give you all something to practice here, because there is, I know for a fact, probably on musictheory.net. Okay, so I suggest you go to musictheory.net, and if you click on interval trainer, or it's musictheory.net/exercises/interval, but probably easier to go to musictheory.net, find it in the menus. You can customize this exercise. You click this little button, and you click the range you want. See, that's really far. That's too far of an interval that we talked about. You want to keep them generally within the staff. I mean, you can do it outside the staff if you want. Okay, never mind. So that's the range in terms of where on the staff it is. You can have actually them pretty far apart. That's not a problem. I was misunderstanding it at first. So set the range to whatever's comfortable. You can go to intervals. You want to uncheck, you only want to check what you know at first, right? And then you want to build on that. So uncheck all these augmented 7, 6. Keep all the ones in the middle. You can uncheck the minor versions of these. A lot easier to do this touch screen with this, and the diminish. So uncheck all these to eliminate confusion. And just start with these. And then these are the intervals basically we talked about. So all you have to do is figure out whether it's a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or octave. Well, hey, that looks like a fourth to me. So I'm going to say P4. And then let's see, that looks like a sixth to me, since the bottom one is a space, top one is a line. And yep, that looks like a sixth. And hey, I got it right, it glowed green. So I suggest you check those out and go over those. Hello, City is back once again. Welcome back to the live stream. I don't understand these names. Everything, I'm still rusty on reading music. So, like I said, The Great Emperor, that this lesson is really a continuation of another lesson I did. And if you've seen the lesson, I know one of you said you saw the lesson already. I don't quite remember whether it was Emperor or not. But if you have seen the lesson about reading intervals and using them to read music, watch that one over actually a few more times. And then watch the recording of this a few times. It does take time. Rich is right. And it's interesting because a lot of times in music, you'll spend a lot of time on something and you won't get it. And then all of a sudden, it'll just kind of click. So stick with it. You might also have to just kind of practice note reading for a while first until you feel really, really good at that, because you really need to be able to do note read effectively. Even if, like, yeah, you still really need to know note reading effectively, because even though I'm determining the interval, how far apart they are, I still need to read the bottom note. So I still have to know that the bottom here is an E flat on this one. So you have to be really quick and snappy. So just stick in with it. And then, don't frustrate yourself over it too much. If you feel like it's too much, go back. Yeah, go back and then, master your note reading first. Okay, Hans. Hello, Hans. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, I'm trying to learn to read music. Yep. And that takes time. I mean, honestly, before I mastered reading music, now keep in mind I started when I was 6, but I think it took me probably at least 2 years, at least, before I felt like I was really good at the notes on the staff. It took me until I was like through part of college until I was really familiar with the notes off of the staff, mainly because when I was learning as a younger person, I would shy away from notes that look scary and difficult. So after a while, once I got into college, they forced us to read notes high off the staff. So then I caught on that. So it took me a very long time to where I could say that I'm almost a note reading master. I'm really good. Hey, Bronte, how's it going? Bronte7, welcome to the live stream. And everybody, whether you're new or returning, you're always welcome back to come back anytime. Today we are talking about intervals. I'm going to put up the recording, if you don't know about this already, after the live stream. Then maybe half hour, an hour, I put out the recording, the rough recording, the non-edited version. I mean, I cut out like really crazy parts in the beginning where there's just a bunch of airspace. But, and then like a week or two later, I will edit that together into like a comprehensive lesson. I might even have like something on my website you can go look at. So that's kind of how that works. Hee insistent cubing says. Okay, any questions about intervals? So I'm actually done the interval portion of the lesson tonight. It looks like we got to about half hour, so it was a very good solid lesson, I would say. I think this is going to make a really good one that I can chop together. And then, like I said, it segues into a part 3 where we'll begin to talk about major intervals and minor intervals. We talk about those a little bit more on my website. But I actually should make even more videos on that for the website as well in our music theory section. So let me tell you what's coming up in the pipeline while you come up with any questions for us. Let me take a look here. I'm thinking about taking a break soon. Let me explain. It's not going to be very long, though. And I still actually... it's going to be a break in terms of the live stream, but it's not going to be really long. So let me take a look at what we have here. Okay, today we were supposed to do piano finger exercises. I actually have a lot of them written. I still need to I didn't want to do that lesson tonight because it really just wasn't ready. And I felt like this one was going to be a really good one if I just kept that a little longer. So I'm going to let that one cook. You'll see me move that subject, piano finger exercises for beginners, a little bit later in the schedule. If you don't know where the schedule is, it's pianolessonsontheweb.com. And if you click that little community button on the top bar, it brings you here when you scroll down. And it basically just says what the calendar is, when we're meeting, when we're planning on meeting, and what we're talking about. So Sunday, I do plan on meeting this Sunday for our community Q&A. So bring any questions you have, whether it's learning about learning music, about the channel, anything, and I would be more than happy to address them there. Next Friday, it says tips for playing piano in public. I'll let you know on Sunday what my plan is. I'm thinking about taking off next week only because I want to plan for the lessons coming ahead. And I also have a couple of lessons that I recorded and I still need to record like a couple parts of, so I really want to catch up on that. You will still get the lesson that comes out on Friday, so it's really not even going to seem like I'm gone that much. Just know that I'm planning on taking off next Friday and Saturday, at least as of right now. Friday and Sunday, I mean to say. Next Friday and Sunday. So we're meeting Sunday, and then next week, I think I'll take the week off, and then I'll shift off the calendar. So come back here in a few days, and you'll see the same topics. I'll just kind of reposition them to where I think they'll be done. Because I'm at a point now where if I get a lesson or if I feel like I'm getting behind on planning the lessons, a lot of the lessons and their success I've found, not all the success, but a lot of success in the lesson, whether it's a successful lesson or it just kind of flops and people aren't really excited about. First of all, it has to be about something people want to learn. That's probably the biggest thing. But the second biggest thing is the planning and preparation. Honestly, if I throw a lesson out there that was just underprepared, it almost always underperforms, which means not as many people see it, not as many people enjoy it. And, it kind of, it wastes my time, and then it wastes everybody's time because they watch a video, they don't get as much out of. So I really would rather sometimes take a little break and then work on the lesson ideas and putting the lessons together, because then I can feel like we can come out with better lessons in the future. So that's why I'm taking the week off next week. Nothing against you beautiful students out there. Okay, Rich is teaching everybody in the chat. Jonathan, what type model do you have? I have a Roland RD700 SX, and I love this thing. You can get you can actually, I've made a discovery, sort of. Was it an RD300 NX, I think? So if you are looking for a keyboard and you're not on as much of a budget, you can buy a Roland RD300 NX. I think it's like mine. It might have a couple less features, but it has weighted keys, which is the best thing about it. It's really well built, and you can get that for about $1,300. That is a lot of money, actually. So let me show you, though. If you go to like Craigslist or eBay, let's go to eBay. I saw. Okay, never mind. These are like for the same price. Where did I see it? I saw a used one online. Let's see. Well, I don't know where they all went. I swear I saw one, maybe like Craigslist or something. But anyway, I saw a few online that were only like $500, and I couldn't believe it. But I don't know what kind of shape they were in, so you can get that new one. I recommend, if you're on a budget though, to get like a Yamaha YPG 535. Wow, I've actually told so many people about this piano that I have the model number even memorized. This is a flat $500. Comes with internal speakers. Has weighted keys. Not the best keyboard in the world for sure, but it is definitely a great one if you're getting your first 88 key keyboard, and you can actually develop some technique on it. If you're becoming a master level pianist, I don't recommend it. But certainly if you're just like kind of dabbling into learning piano and you kind of just want to get to that next level, get something with 88 keys, weighted keys, that will take you all the way through your learning experience pretty much. Like I said, unless you decide you want to like really go professional with it, then you want the Roland RD 700 SX like I have. Okay, let's see. Rich says one step lower than the minor note. Pretty sure it's a Yamaha. I'm going to go look at how to read music videos. Bye and thank you. All right, Great Emperor. You're welcome to come back every time. Sorry we confused you a little bit in this lesson, but yeah, absolutely. Go watch some of those videos and then watch the recording of this later. And you can always let me know any questions you have in the comments. I'd be more than happy to try to get to you. I'm getting to the point now where I'm almost getting too many comments that I can answer in a day, which is a great thing. Great thing. So if you ever see a comment I can't get to, if somebody asking a question, you know the answer, give them the answer. I love to see that when people are like, I can't get to a question, and then I see somebody else answered it. It's really cool. But let's take a look here. Look forward to finger exercises. So finger exercises, yes, will be coming. Like I said, I wanted to spend a little bit more time on it instead of doing it tonight and rushing it out. My hands are pretty tense playing Moonlight Sonata third movement. Moonlight Sonata third movement is hard. I'm surprised you're learning that one. That's like something I would learn. Rich Bryan says, that's my keyword. I recommend it. Very good. Jonathan says, okay, thanks. Ian says, in a certain way, you only read the bottom note and intervals while playing. Don't get me wrong. I'm good enough at reading notes now that I can read the individual notes fast enough. I would say that I use a combination of I almost use both methods at the same time and double check each other. Like right away I can spot that this is a fifth. I know the bottom note's A. And because there's only two there, I can really pick those out at the same time. But say we had something like this. Something a little bit more complex, right? So, and say somebody goes, go, don't even think about it, just play it. All right, let me see. Let's see how I did. I got it because I saw the second there. There's a fifth between there, and then there's another fifth there. So that's why I was able to play that super quick. And I didn't, actually in that case, because I had written so many notes, I didn't read them individually. I just kind of used the intervals to figure out where they were. So I use a combination of both, to tell you the truth. But yeah, when I need to get them quick and snappy, I use the intervals way, way faster. Let's see what Rich says. Rich said something... You're supposed to feel the keys. All right, Rich said something interesting before, but I missed it, I think. Oh, Rich says, Tim, I've totally revamped the way I sight read. I'm no longer looking down. I'm playing at a slow BPM, but it feels great not having to look down. And then, and that's why you said, how come you never told me that you have to look, you have to feel your way to look down, to not look down. Hi, LP. How are you doing here today? Glad to have you with us at the live class we have here today. All right. I know a small portion of Rick Astley's song. My hands are always tense playing. So yes, City, you don't want to have your hands too tense while playing, or else they get kind of stiff. It gets kind of hard to play up and down effectively. Okay, let's see. I can play We Are Number One if you don't know what that is. We are number one. No, I don't know what that is actually. It sounds familiar though. It really does. 240 in Germany, still watching this here. MOC. Okay, wow, 240 in Germany. 240 in the morning or 240 in the afternoon? I would assume in the morning, right? Right. I'm not the best on time zones. I'm a little bit better since I deal with students all around the world. But, still don't have them all memorized. All right, so Rich says, what do you do to warm up? Okay, here we go. Boom. Let's see. So I recommend starting out with maybe my scales, which I haven't run through in a little while. Actually, never mind. I played them the other day. One thing about practicing scales, I know I only went up 3 octaves. After you learn them 1 octave, you want to try to start doing 2 octaves. And then I would practice them like this. So I do the first octave quarter notes. And then actually I'd come back down as quarter notes as well. 1, 2, 3. And then I do 2 octaves with eighth notes. And then I'm going to do 3 octaves in triplets. Almost kept it together there towards the end. I had a little bit of trouble there at the end. And then what I'd do is I'd play 4 octaves in 16th notes. And then I'd play through all 12 major scales. I'd play through at least the harmonic minor versions, each of those, so that would be another 12. So I'd play through all of those in the... I wouldn't do that every single time, though, because that takes up a lot of time. That's really, if you're trying to get your scales 100%, that's what you do. You play 1 octave quarter notes, then you play 2 octaves eighth notes, and then you play 3 octaves triplets, because you have to split the notes into 3, and then you have to split them into 4 to do 4 octaves, so then that would be 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and, also known as counting the 16th notes. So that's how I would do it. And then I'd go through all my scales, and then I'd probably pick a Hanon exercise or something, and I would play that, and then I'd play it probably with the metronome, and then each time I practice it, try to get it up, speed just a little bit. Remember, if it's falling apart, you have to dial back the speed. So I do something like that. And then what else would I do to warm up? Sometimes I just kind of close my eyes and breathe. Sounds kind of weird because, of course, you need to breathe, but a lot of times, I slow my breathing and really relax my muscles, because at the piano, well, you should be sitting up straight, and, your column should be firm, your core. It shouldn't be real tight, and you also shouldn't be tightening up your muscles or arms at all. Like, you really shouldn't be tense. If you're tense, whether it's in your hands, your elbows, your arms, you're just not going to play very well. So that's one thing I do, is I kind of just, almost like a little meditation, just to calm down my muscles and my internal mental chatter and things like that. So I breathe a couple of times, and then, so I have relaxed muscles mainly, and a relaxed mind to continue my practice with. And I guess that's it. Oh, I forget. Oh, sight reading. I'll probably throw in a sight reading example out of there. Church hymnals I highly recommend, mainly because in church hymnals, the way the chords move during the song is perfect for sight reading, because you're changing chords and then you're playing different notes between the chords. So it's really, really good. And then also a lot of the songs are in different keys, which is definitely what you want. I know C sharp major, 7 flats, man, and sharps. Yep, so C sharp major, 7 sharps, C flat major, 7 flats. Don't cheat, Tim. Choose a more difficult key. All right, C sharp. Let me do the triplets again, and then my pen was falling over here. Oops. Oops. That's hard. Need to brush up on that one a little bit, but even actually just playing through that exercise helped it kind of polish it up a little bit. I'd probably play it through a few more times. So there's C sharp. All right, I did D flat already. Oh, you meant B flat. B flat has only 3 flats. Well, B flat really has 2 different flats, but because it begins on a flat and you copy the last note, it does look like it has 3 flats, but 2 unique flats, B flat and E flat. But you're right that the top flat is doubled. 16th note runs a little bit. They are getting a little sloppy. But that's another way to test for that, whether you're getting sloppy in any of your playing. B flat only has 3 hats. Which do you think is harder? What, B flat or C sharp? B flat is... B flat I think might be harder. Only because it's a little bit harder to cross at the right time. I don't know how to explain it. Like with C sharp, there's plenty of like anchor points. Like I hit those 2 black keys, and then I know it's always the furthest, white key because everything's sharp. So it's easier to keep track of. This one's a little different. Then A flat always gave me trouble, kid. Me chilling with the piano gods. Hey son, what are you doing? That's awesome. Okay, yeah, I would say that B flat is harder, definitely. All right, any last few minute questions? I'll stick around here for a little bit longer, of course. Wait, where is... Let me take a look at this real quick, everybody. Can I play them all in contrary motion? Yeah, I think so. I think so. All right, so sorry I yelled into the microphone. I probably caused it to clip there a little bit. So if you take a look here, there's something weird. Well, not weird, but something new. So if you look at the chat, first of all, there's an emoji thing I've never looked for. And then there's something called Super Chat. This is totally optional. I just want to let you know this is here. I'm not like telling you to do it. But if you click on Super Chat, you can send a Super Chat. This is like a brand new feature of YouTube. And basically you donate like a tiny bit of money. And then you say like, hey, yo, anything you want. I mean, hey, yo, love the vids. And then whatever. Then you donate $2. And then I guess it's meant really for shout outs or anything. But I know it pins your post to like the top of the chat. But I just want to let you know that's there. I'm not pressuring you into doing it or anything like that. Let me go back there because that's a brand new feature. I don't think a lot of people yeah, I even forgot it was there. I had actually unlocked it today. But anyway, that's like a good alternative maybe to like Patreon or something like that. So we'll see how it pans out. But let's take a look here. So Rich says, can I play them in contrary motion? Yeah. Whoops. Let me try again. Oops. Let me see here. That's right. So I'm a little rusty, but I think I got it. All right, so let's take a look here. Why am I here? I don't even play piano. Kawaii, I don't know. Maybe you should pick one up. Let me know if you're ever interested in getting a piano keyboard, and I can help you get one. But I don't know. But you're always welcome to come back. Bronte says, best beginning practice book, ordered Lang Lang's. It depends. Depends on what you're looking for. I always recommend Alfred's Adult. I'm not sure how old you are, but I assume you are, if you're even a teenager, Alfred's Adult series #1. So it's usually this pink book here. I recommend if you're just starting out learning piano, especially as an adult, get this pink book and play through that one. That one has a lot of good songs and also works you through like really easy stuff and then into the more difficult stuff. There's a book called Finger Power. It helps your fingers play better, faster, and stronger. Better, faster, stronger, better, something. I forgot that the Daft Punk song. But anyway, the Finger Power book. Is it this one? Is it Schaum Productions Finger Power? Is it that a one? Tim, what do you think of the Sight Reading Factory website? I have a subscription there. I don't remember if I know the password though. It's not a bad option, honestly, because it will basically automatically generate sight reading examples for you. Now, what I recommend you do is you can get something like this, totally fine. I think it will be worth it. I forget how much it costs. Pricing, let's see. I don't remember. 1 year subscription, $34.99. I would say that that's worth it, honestly. That's not a lot of money, at least not to me. I mean, for a whole year. Now, if it was $35 a month, I'd give you a different answer. But $35 an entire year, I would say that that's pretty good. Now, the thing is in addition to sight reading from this website, I highly recommend you find like a real sight reading example or sight reading book to get, or like a real piano book to sight read out of. So you want to be reading sight reading real songs, because even though these are decent, like I said, I don't know remember the login right now, so I won't try until later. I'll catch you up on it later once I log in. But if I remember right, the examples are good. I mean, in terms of just having plain sight reading examples to read, but they're not exactly like music you would find in real life. Like some of the passages are, but you always want to be playing music as it naturally is. These are like examples they kind of make up on the spot, and like I said, they're not really in the context of real songs. So every once in a while you do want to crack open a real Bach or a real Mozart or something like that and try to sight read through part of it. It's a great sight reading experience as well. But I do recommend, I think that this website's good. I've used it, and yeah, I think for $35 it's worth it. By Schaum. So that is it. Here it is, Finger Power. So if you're interested in cubing, highly recommends this one. I'm thinking of using it. So the music will not be pleasing to the ear. It's just to practice playing notes. Yes, that's right. So it's not going to have anything that sounds like Mozart or anything, Debussy or anything like that. It's just going to be very plain. Like an example in 6/8, it might be like. Something like, just as an example, it might not be exactly like that. Actually, I didn't even play that in 6/8. So there you go. That one was sort of in 6/8. But yeah, so you are correct on that, Rich. It won't be pleasing the ear, but it's just really for practicing. But it's good. It's good. I think, like I said, I think it's worth it. So everybody, we're rounding out the hour here almost at 56 minutes. I think I'm going to call it a day here in a little bit. If you have any last minute comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. It's great having you out with us tonight. It was a really, really good lesson about intervals. If you didn't catch the beginning part of it, feel free to check out the recording afterwards. Posted like maybe an hour or so after. And then, of course, the truly edited version will be at either next Friday or the Friday after. I still have to put out the Final Fantasy one we did last week. Can I play Rondo alla Turca? No. I don't think I've ever played that one. I probably could if I practiced it. Thanks again, Tim. You're very welcome, Bob Jones. The finger power book is just a bunch of etudes. They work on weak fingers like a pinky and ring finger. That's great. So, let's see. Will they let us... What? Oh, it doesn't have the preview. I love when they have the preview. So no preview for this one. But I'll have to check that one out. That's great. Is it just me, or is Tim getting more views on his streams? I hope so. I hope so. I think I am. I'm definitely getting more views on the videos that I edit together and put out, but I think I am getting more views on the live streams as well, which is always excellent. The finger power book is just a bunch of A2. Okay, I read that one already. And then Insissy Cubing says, what? But I'll have to check that out. I'm not sure what you meant by what response you said what to. But let's see. Does this one have a preview? No preview for that one, but I'll have to buy it sometime and check that out. I've always been looking for good finger exercises. Jonathan. Hold on a second, Jonathan. Oh, I'll have to check. Who? Rondo Alaturka. Hold on a second, Jonathan. We'll convene here in a minute, but I just wanted to look this up real quick. Oh, Mozart. Okay. It's coming back to me now. They probably want me to buy this, of course. No. Oh, I can probably find it. Yeah, see, I can't play it here because YouTube will flag me, but I will take a look at the... I learned about that in school, but I've never played the Rondo Alaturka. So I'll have to take a look at that. Just 9 people watching. Well, anyway, thanks, Tim. Catch you next time. There's been like 5. That's true. There has been 5 before. It usually doesn't break a whole lot while we're at the meeting, but usually about 100... Actually, some of these get like 300, 400, 500 views, the live streams. Let's see. Oh, I'm losing my voice here. Carmela says, hey, Tim, thanks for your videos. These are great. Greetings from Patagonia. Well, welcome as always, Camila. Camilla or Camellia? You're always welcome back as always. City says, when I came to the stream, he had 13. Man, I'm losing support. Tim, how many original songs do you have? What do you mean by original songs? What does Rich mean by original songs? Well, I wrote that one right there, so there's one. I don't know. Maybe there's like 15 songs that I've ever written. I've ever composed. I composed a couple of songs in 2012, and then it never really got that far because I got busy with graduate school. The chat from us has a delay between your PC. Very true. So there's actually a delay in the stream itself. So I see the chat in real time, but by the time I respond to it, you're watching it in the future from when I said it. So there's about a minute delay, I think. And that's just built into YouTube. What are improvs? Not quite sure what they are. An improv is something you make up on the spot using like chords and stuff that you know. So if I'm playing a B-flat blues, I'm using this type of scale. I'm using a set of chords. So I kind of know what the chords are going to be, but I don't know what order it's all going to be in. And I kind of just make up the order on the spot. There you go, everybody. Kind of playing us out there. So thanks a lot, everybody. This has been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thanks for coming out and being a part of our community. We had a great lesson tonight. You're always welcome back into the live streams at any time. Well, anytime we're having a live stream, which is most Fridays and most Sundays. I'll catch you Sunday the same. So whatever an hour ago was for you and whatever time zone you're in, we're starting that time on Sunday. For us, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but make sure to convert your time zone accordingly. So I'll see you then for a community Q&A. And then next week, I think I'm taking off. In terms of the live streams, you'll still get some videos here and there. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great evening. So thank you so much. Let me go through and thank everybody. So thank you for coming, Rich. Thank you for coming, Camila. Thank you for coming. She says, or I assume you're she. I don't know. You might be. Sorry if I only know your names. I wish I could improvise like that. I need to study more. I only feel comfortable with music scores. And this cubing was by. Thank you for being a part of our Lessons on the Web Academy over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. So after everybody's done here, if you feel like it, head over. Let me, once I'm done talking here, let me give you a link here. Boom. All right, so if you go to pianolessonsontheweb.com, basically it's my website, and you can check out what we have over there. We have a bunch of courses that I made, and Insisted Cubing as a part of the students that have enrolled in that website. So special thank you to Insisted Cubing. We have Rich, always a great thank you to him. Jonathan, thank you for coming back again. Camilla again. City, thank you for coming once again. You're becoming a regular here. Welcome back anytime. I really liked your comment about what your mom was asking what you're doing, and the piano gods. All right, Jonathan, let's see. Anybody else? Bob Jones, thank you for coming. Bronte, thanks for coming. LP, let's see, thanks for coming. Kawai, even though you don't play music, thanks for coming. And I think that's mostly it. Oh, Ian, thanks for stopping by. The Great Emperor, that's right, the Great Emperor was in here for a while. Thanks for coming out today. Thanks, everybody else. Is that it? To the Z, or to Thez. Thanks for coming. And I think that's it. Jonathan. I think. Oh, Alexander. Thanks for coming. And that's it, everybody. And me. Thanks to me. We're losing the stream here. Maybe on Maple Leaf Sunday, or maybe on Sunday you can play Maple Leaf Rag. I will try. I'll try. It's been a while since I played that one. That one is a bit difficult, especially the full version, but maybe I can sneak out the first page or so for you. So remind me if you show up on Sunday, and I'll see if I can pull that up and play that. I don't think YouTube will flag my channel for that one. Okay, thanks everybody, and have a great day.